put it on a sticky note. It's so rare for anyone who is involved with widows to get an award, let alone any kind of recognition. I first have to start with Christy and Kay for being so pioneering and saying, yes, we're going to address this. But now, you have a family member that you understand. And in the, I'm a member of Winter Park Chamber of Commerce, so I'm very familiar with Betsy, and I've gotten to know Karen and Cecily. I introduced to AI, and I don't think I'll ever hear the end of it. Yes, 61 years ago, there was a little baby that was born in the city of Angels. That baby was me. And 24 years ago, I was out to dinner with my husband, who I love very dearly, who is the reason why I'm here. He was an architect, I'm an interior designer, and we had both gotten hired to work at Mark Michael's Interior Design, so we came to Orlando. And for Valentine's Day, like most people, they go out for dinner. And that night, we decided to drive on Roseland so we could see Lake Eola on our way home, which was right by Lake Highland. And 4 young boys in a car crashed into our car right at the courthouse and caused us to hit a light pole, and that light pole came down and hit his head, and I survived that car accident. He died. My 2 and 4-year-old daughters, which are here tonight, 27 and 29 now, they're falling asleep. And I ended up at ORMC. I left that building a widow, 37 years old, the owner of a 50-person interior design firm, not knowing what my future was. I don't think anyone aspires to start an organization called Modern Widows Club. I think it chooses you, right? Today we're 50,000 women strong, and the women in this room who are part of Modern Widows Club, I would love for you to raise your hand so that people can see you, because you can't tell the difference between a widow and any other. And yet we have 100,000 of them in Central Florida. Who are they? What do they need? How can we help them? These are the questions I ask Mayor Demings and Mayor Buddy Dyer and everyone I come in conversation with. I want to know what's happening, because 24 years ago, there was very little support from me. And that's an injustice to women who are those who have fulfilled marriage vows. Promise made, promise kept, promise honored. That's what we teach at Modern Widows Club. How do you honor this legacy of love that you have experienced, right? Right now we have about 914,000 widows in Florida. We're actually we're the 4th largest state and the 3rd largest country. And the rest of the world is actually waiting for us here, right here in Central Florida, to do something, to be a model of how we actually serve widows and empower them. I realize this might be new knowledge to you, but that is this, because of Modern Widows Club was launched here in Winter Park in my home with 2 women, and has grown worldwide. They are watching what we will do. And I will not give up until we actually serve those 100,000 women. I didn't know anything about running a 501c3 nonprofit. That was not my wheelhouse. But what I did know is I knew the suffering of a widow, and then seeing the light come back into her eyes was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. I went looking for mentors, someone to look up to, and it took me 10 years. That's way too long. Way too long. These women need to be able to step into an environment that is inspiring, that is hopeful, that's full of healing, and gives them a future to grow towards. The research actually shows that widows have the ability to be able to bounce back, because it is the #1 most stressful life event. It is. It's 100 stress points. And yet today, women's health doesn't recognize it at all. You probably recognize divorce, 73 stress points. You probably recognize having a baby, 39 stress points. But losing a spouse is the #1 most stressful life event that is directly attached to negative social determinants of health. And too many women who are widowed are getting sick, and they're not finding the support that they need. Today, 501c3 has turned into a 509A2, and for those of you who are actually in the nonprofit world know what I'm talking about. It took us 5 years to prove that we were actually funded publicly, full public support. Right? We're on the same level as Orlando Museum of Art, zoos. We're the first widows organization to accomplish this. So what that means is, because I'm a fundraiser, 60% of your adjusted gross income can be donated. And it goes towards programs, because the majority of women cannot afford our programs, our fee-based programs. They can't afford it. They can't come to an event like this, pay $100. They can't. Because financial insecurity is one of the 4 main reasons why widows suffer. Disinheritance, government neglect, and social exclusion are the other 3. So we have a lot of work to do when it comes to widows, but we've started the process here. And what I can tell you is, when you empower a widow, she becomes a community asset. And that's what we want. Nelson Mandela was married to a woman named Graça Michelle. You might have heard of her. She's actually been widowed twice. I was fortunate to be on a call with her a couple years ago, and she said this quote: "We are all drops of water in the wave of change." And I now know that I am here to be a part of a wave that is going to revolutionize how widows are served from this point on. And I hope you will learn more about this organization, because 70% of married women become widowed. Only 1% at age 40, but by 85, 73% of all women are widowed. So this isn't an if, this is a win. And they need education and resources and community, right? I just want to ask, does anyone in this room know someone who's widowed? Just raise your hands. Right? Well, in the past, women were just told to be quiet, put the photos away, and move on. We're not doing that anymore. Because women are too valuable. Because if we're going to care for women when they're unborn, when they're girls, when they go to college, when they get married, and maybe they divorce, we can damn sure take care of them when they're widowed. So let's do that. Thank you.